Rise of Kingdoms has been around for a long time now, and many players have come and gone from the game. But with all the new changes that Lilith has been making, is it finally time for players to come back to Rise of Kingdoms? Join me to learn more. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another Rise of Kingdoms gameplay episode from your very own Shappy Gaming. Today, we are going to be talking about all of the different improvements that Lilith has been making to try and bring players back to Rise of Kingdoms. Now, some of these changes are already in the game and you can experience them today, and I'm actually going to be showing them off in this video. But some of these changes have not arrived just yet, and I have the release notes to walk you through exactly what is coming and what this means for players who may have quit the game and are potentially considering coming back. So first things first, when you come back to the game today, you will be greeted with the King's Return. This event has been in the game for a long time. You can check out my video on the top right side of your screen, which covers all about it. But generally, what this allows you to do is actually go ahead and just pick a commander that you want to get 10 gold heads for, and you just have to log into the game about 8 days in a row. But they've also added other things recently. So you also have something called a commander trial. And this is really, really interesting. What this allows you to do is if you log in for a total of 2 days, you get to test out a legendary commander for 60. This helps some new players who come back to the game really get into it and actually have some great commanders that they can leverage early on in the game. And you get commanders like Herman Prime, Zhuge Liang, and more. Now, if I were coming back, I would probably grab Herman because you get him for 5511 off the bat for free. This is an amazing deal, and I think it will make people have a lot more fun, especially if they're coming back and they don't have a lot of legendary commanders already invested in. So I'm really, really excited about this. I haven't played with this too much, but I do think it's a really nice offering because it allows you to test out commanders that you may not already have or that you may be considering working on. A perfect example of this is actually going to be William Wallace. You get him 5511, which I think is probably pretty viable in the early game. So just something to consider. This is a great addition to the game, and you can pick almost any commander that you want. Now, there are a couple other things that you get too. They've recently introduced something called the Returnee Shop, and this actually allows you to earn rupees through different actions, mainly just by playing the game. You defeat barbarians, you gather resources, you purchase things in the courier station. Anything that you do really to play this game will earn you rupees. And with these rupees, you can go in and you can actually buy out this rupee shop, and you get up to, I think it's 5 different levels. But simply by playing the game, you can get all sorts of great things just for coming back to the game, which I think if you are starting out is a really nice thing. Now, the other thing is this account is over 13 million power, so I'm not actually being invited to travel back to a previous KVK, but I can actually show you that on one of my other accounts. Overall, these rupees are really easy to come by, and they're a free source of gold heads, which again is really nice in terms of enabling you to come back and not be incredibly far behind. There's also return gifts if you wanted to buy this bundle. Personally, I don't think it's that great, but if you want to come back and be a big spender, you can totally do that. And last but not least, you can see all of the different commanders. Now, they've also added some other really cool functionalities. So let's go through and actually look at some of them. So here's an account, Shap. I haven't logged into this in months. So let's go into this account and see exactly what I'm talking about.
5 hours later.
So here we are. We've actually logged into a different account called New Shappy. Shap didn't work, but you'll notice that as soon as you log in after neglecting the game for a while, you'll actually get a message from our lovely guide saying, "Welcome home, Governor." As your counselor, I speak on behalf of all the people when I tell you how happy I am that you've returned. In your absence, it was as if the city had lost its soul. You can't see that because I'm in the way, but it's right there. No matter how long it's been, your citizens still remember your wonderful leadership. I'm sure they'll be thrilled to see you. Come, let's pay them a visit. This has never been in the game before. This was added somewhat recently, and I really like it because it makes it exciting. It looks like your city actually means something. You get some firework effects. It's really fun. So let's actually look at what happens though. See, you see your people are overjoyed to see you back. We've kept ourselves busy in your absence because we were certain that one day you'd come back and lead us to glory. Now allow me to update you on what's been going on in your city. So one of the things that they've added is that your city will actually do things when you're offline. And Lilith is planning on doubling down on this, and I'll show you that in the release notes. But for now, if I click on this builder hut, we get this lovely builder who says, welcome back. This is the best news I've heard all day. And we've made some improvements while you were gone. Now, historically, you would just come back and you'd get the King's Return event, which was lovely, but you'd still have to go through and do all the extra work. Now, what's interesting here is you'll see that you actually get a bunch of building upgrades even when you're offline. And what Lilith has told me is that this doesn't actually use any of your resources or any of your speed ups. So you just come back after neglecting the game and things can get updated. Now, this is also really valuable for farm accounts. So this is a farm account that we're talking about right now. But just by neglecting it and not using it, it's getting upgraded. And if I go offline again, it will continue to get upgraded. So that's nice. As you can see, it gave me a nice bump of power. But that's not all. We also have gotten some new texts that have been invested in. So as you can see, the scholars of my academy have not stopped pursuing knowledge while I was gone. So we get our lovely scholar, and they have done some independent research. So as you can see, a bunch of new texts unlocked, things I probably wouldn't have invested in. But this is nice because, at least for me, I don't want to log into my farm account every single day and go through and do those investments. But that's not all. You also get new troops. So if we come in here, you can see we've got new troops that have been unlocked, and they've done some training while I was gone. It's not much, right? There's not too many troops here, but it's something, which I really appreciate. And I believe it varies depending upon how long you've been gone for. Now, as you can see, your people have always considered you a leader worth following, and not once did they give up hope. They've also written you this lovely letter. So all of this, I think, is with the intention of making it so you come back to the game and you have a happy, positive experience when you've been gone. But that's not all. So when you do come back, they have something called a new journey. You can restart in a new kingdom, and they give you a gift. I think it's some gems and some teleports and some gold keys just to get you started. If you're thinking about doing a jumper, you actually should probably start with this because it's nice to start with those gems. Now, you could also do some targeted immigration. So you could pick which kingdoms you want. They're all relatively new. This is a season 1 kingdom. Again, I'm under 10 million power. But now what's really cool here is if I do go back, you'll see that I still have the commander trial, I believe. And so I can actually go through and still test out the new commanders. So it's very, very handy. They have the bundle. You still have the rupee shop. And I actually didn't get the commander trial this time, which makes me believe that you either get targeted immigration or you get the commander trial. So just something to keep in mind here. Now, we still get the rupee shop and all of this great stuff. So that covers what's available today. But what about some of the things that Lilith is planning on adding in the future? Well, let's take a look. So as you can see here, Lilith is trying to make things better and easier for players coming back. In one of their back-to-back with developers, they said, what are your plans to help returning players catch up? And they're continuously adjusting the return system to help returning players catch up, including adding a commander trial, which we just saw, which enables you to go through and test out a commander. Also, they have the return shop, which is based on the return duration and VIP level. You can access different levels of the exchange shop with up to 80 gold heads and 2 legendary commanders available. That's a ton. That is a huge deal. That makes it so if you do come back and you've missed the game for, I don't know, let's say 2 months, you can actually get 80 gold heads, which would be the equivalent of if you logged in every day at VIP 14, and you can get 2 legendary commanders to spin for or invest in. That's amazing. That is really, really good in terms of bringing players back into the game. And they also do have your automatic upgrades. So we just saw that firsthand. We saw how this experience works. Personally, I'm a really big fan of it. Now, they also ask the question of, what plans do you have to help new players catch up by the time they reach SOC for the first time? And they said this issue has been a focus of a lot of our recent discussions. They are looking at providing a commander reset opportunity when new players first enter KVK3. This is a huge deal. I don't know about you. I've made mistakes. I've invested in commanders I probably shouldn't have. Gains maxed Cleopatra using universal gold heads. This refund is a huge opportunity. Now, they're also going to be adjusting museum offerings, which means that when you enter SOC, you still have the potential to use some of your old commanders to make them even better. A perfect example of this is YSG. He's just gotten his 3rd museum buff, which makes him even more viable than he is right now, and he's still useful into the late game. Now, they're also adjusting to help new players unlock T5 faster. to make it so as soon as you come out of Season 3, you have the potential to actually get T5 sooner. And I do wonder if this also works if you ignore your account, the same way that we just did with this farm account. But that's not all. One of the biggest frustrations that Rise of Kingdoms players have had is that when they are in a new kingdom, and they're in KVK 1 or KVK 2, and then they start moving into the later KVKs, you get flooded with whales that have old tech and old equipment and old commanders, and it just makes things harder. And even if you spend $10,000 on the game, you may get wrecked by someone who's been playing for longer. And they have addressed this as well. So when asked how they're planning on improving the experience for new kingdoms, they said that new kingdoms have always been of great importance, and they've strived to improve their experience. They conducted a survey for kingdoms that have entered Season of Conquest, and most governors' complaints focused on the following, which we already know. Governors immigrating into the kingdom were too strong, making things unfair for native governors. This also really affects KVK matchmaking. New kingdoms were being matched with older kingdoms in KVK, resulting in most governors in the new kingdoms being unable to keep up and getting absolutely crushed, which is not fun. So to improve this, they're changing a bunch of different things. And I made a whole nother video on this. If you want to check that out on the top right side of the screen, it's not in such a positive light, but I do think for newer players or for people coming back, these are huge, amazing, positive changes. So in terms of immigration, they're adjusting cross-season immigration rules for Season 2 and Season 3 to essentially make it so you cannot really migrate back anymore. They've made it so the extra requirement for cross-season immigration to a Season 2 is that your character can't be more than 120 days older than the target kingdom, which pretty much means you're still a newbie, you're not going to have all the great equipment, you're not going to be a whale that's migrating back that's been playing for over 1,000 days. That's one of the biggest problems they see today. So that's huge. And that's also going to make it so your KVK 2 and KVK 3 are a little bit easier and a little bit more friendly to players coming back. They've also done this for Season 3. Character's account can't be more than 180 days older, and they've done it for subsequent KVKs as well. So let me know in the comment section below, are you coming back to Rise of Kingdoms? I think that Lilith has done a great job of trying to welcome people back and make changes to improve the game for everyone. I hope that you've enjoyed. If you have, be sure to drop a like on the video and hit that subscribe button right over there, bottom right hand corner, and hit the bell so you get notified when new episodes come out. Thank you all. Shappy out.